Good morning and welcome to the weekly Marketing Profit School show. And this week we are diving into creating a feedback loop for your ad. Sounds kind of scary and technical, right? Doesn't have to be. It can actually be quite simple. And that's how we're going to position it today for you to think about. So welcome. I'm Penny Kelly with Marketing Profit School. And we're going to get into setting up your Facebook ads so it's not quite set it and forget it. Like, we can't really do that because we're spending money every day, but we can certainly get to the point where we're checking on ads every few days. We're not constantly going in 4 or 5 times a day, like hitting that refresh all the time to see what's going on, because things are working. And that's because we understand how to use the platform, how to give it what it wants so it gives us what we want, and we understand our audience and what they want. That's something I've talked a lot about recently, and I will continue to hammer home about that because it is important that we understand our audience if we want to get the outcomes we want for our business and if we actually want to help the people that we're trying to help, right? So we're going to dive into this. Now, I have a tool that's called the 6C, and this is the profit circle for businesses who are looking to grow. And those points of contact, or those touch points in that circle, are captivate, connect, contact, convert, capitalize, and then cultivate. Cultivate is the one that so many people forget. So when we can set up our circle so that it somewhat mirrors Facebook ads priorities for categories for our campaign, and what Ads Manager is looking for right now on campaigns is awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, which not a lot of us coach, consultant, client businesses do, and then sales. Everybody wants sales, right? And it's funny to me that traffic and engagement are in the reverse order as how I would think of them. But in general, traffic can go to messages on Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp. It can go to booking calls. So it really is, it's kind of that next step toward your business. Link clicks, landing page views. Traffic is what you're gonna run always if you are doing some kind of affiliate promotion or promoting something that's someone else's offer where you can't actually trigger that conversion on the back end for the pixel. Here's how we want to think about these things. We want to think about dropping in, and I am looking to make sure I'm actually live on the page now. Yes, okay. So we want to make sure that we're captivating the audience and that we're going out to our tiny pocket of people, but we're allowing the algorithm to help us find them. So maybe that means we test one interest at a time. Maybe that means, hey, we've got customers, we've got an email list, we haven't really advertised before, we haven't done much, we haven't been successful. So we can take data that we already own and help the algorithm model new data for us using its AI that it's been using for a decade, and getting really smart about finding our pocket of people, our smallest viable audience. So what does that look like? Well, this feedback loop looks like us asking the algorithm to find our people. So you're in a little motorboat and you're going out and you're looking for your people, and you give it the intelligence that you have about your audience research to find your specific people in this ocean of billions of people using Facebook, right? And then the algorithm also knows some people like to share and comment and click and engage. Some people like to click on things and buy. Some people like to opt in. So that goes in to the triggers and the decision-making factors for the algorithm as it's putting your ad out there. This is why we need more than one type of campaign running. This is why we need to have almost a rubric or a matrix of ads that we're running for our business. We don't have to have big budgets on everything, but we do want to catch the people that are falling through the cracks. Or think of it as like a fishing net where the weave is a little too big and some of your most qualified fish are smaller fish and they're just going to slip right through. Or maybe the net is arranged to only catch a certain kind of fish, but your fish are sort of adjacent to that kind of fish. You know, there's a lot of metaphors and stories we could tell about it. But you want to understand that the way that the algorithm makes decisions, the more data you feed it, the better decisions it can make for you. And the better it can give you what you want. So the way we create this Facebook feedback loop, and it works on Google as well, give it information. Just like a lot of us have been playing around with AI and ChatGPT and Jasper and those kinds of tools, it's like having a conversation, right? We have to give it information for it to give us back the information that we want. The same thing with the algorithm in digital media buying and advertising. We have to give it some information so that it can help us find the people we're looking for. Now, this can start with running video views, running engagement ads. So you're building up a warm audience. You're seeing of that broad audience out there who is actually engaging with your content. And then you're sending things back to them. Or you can just go straight for a sale if you have something under $100. Under 50 works even better, but in today's economy, under 100 is worth testing. So if you have something under 50 and you have that traditional SLO, self-liquidating offer model, those are much easier to optimize than when you're going straight for a high ticket. However, if you report to the algorithm and the platform that a consult call is actually a purchase and has a value similar to what a tripwire would have, then you can definitely capitalize on those as well. And you can optimize those faster. So that's one way to think about your funnel if you just have high ticket. If you're saying to Google or to Facebook that this consult call, when it is booked, when they see the confirmation page that a call is booked, this has a value of $20, $50, $100 to my business because I know for every X number of these calls, I make a sale. So it has a real monetary value to your business. And these are real numbers. These aren't just made up numbers because you're explaining to the platform that this has a monetary value to your business. You want that to be as close to accurate as possible so it is scalable in your ads on the back end. So think about that. So we're going to say that you only have a high ticket coaching offer and you're going for those consult calls. So you're going to put content around that, you're going to get engagement, and then you're going to offer to have a call with someone, or you're going to provide them some value for hopping on a call. When I do calls with people, I promise them that they're going to walk away with at least one thing they can apply in their business right away, whether or not we work together. And it's usually 2 or 3 things, but I promise at least one thing that they can put into action in their business right now, based on the conversation we have, if they come with the data I need to help them make that decision and to give them that feedback. So we want to return data to the platform. We're gathering data. That's the first thing, is we gather the data from who engages, who clicks, who goes to the next pages. And we do this by having the Facebook Pixel integrated on our pages and sites, by having Google Analytics, any other third-party tracking that you want to use. But with just the Facebook Pixel and Google Analytics, whether you're using an API connection or you're using Google Tag Manager, you can get the data with all the privacy coming. We are moving to cookieless tracking. So whenever possible, get those API server-side connections in place, because that is going to be much more reliable and more complete data than relying on cookies for your tracking. And honestly, in the next couple of years, cookies are going to be gone anyway. So as long as the next 30 days are going to be chaotic with everybody making sure they're up and running with GA4 and they're out of Universal Analytics, you may as well go ahead and do what you need to do to get your WordPress or whatever kind of website you're using or whatever tool you're using, get it compliant and working with GA4, so that Google Analytics 4 is tracking your data, including e-commerce, including every conversion you need it to be tracking as an event, and that your Facebook Pixel is integrated at the deepest possible level with your tools and pages. We're telling Facebook what we want. Let's just focus for a moment only on Facebook ads. Telling Facebook what we want. We're letting it know when we achieve the thing we asked it to do by firing an event on the Pixel. That's a conversion, whether it's a lead or a purchase or a call being booked or whatever that is. Letting it know that we achieved what we asked it for. And then we're going to take all that data that we're collecting and we're actually going to send it back to the platform. So we're going to do this with first-party and zero-party data. When we collect email addresses in our email CRM, we're going to download those or we're going to connect them. I use ActiveCampaign. I can connect it directly to Facebook. So when people come into my list, they get added to a Facebook custom audience. I don't have to touch it. I don't have to download CSV files and upload them or any of that kind of stuff. I have done that for years and years, but it is much nicer when it happens automatically on the back end. Then we have these custom audiences that we can retarget or remarket to them. They're warm audiences. They've already given us their information, so we can show them the next step, the buying step, the upsell, the retention, the special offer just for customers, whatever that is. If you have physical products and you have a lot more customers than those of us with a higher ticket offer, then the possibilities are almost endless of how you can do this. You can look at some of the popular e-commerce sites out there with physical products to see how they're mixing and matching those retargeting ads or those existing customer ads to get back in front of people. It's much easier to sell more to someone who's already bought something than to acquire a new customer. It's like 9 times easier statistically. So keep that in mind. And if we think about that last C in my 6 C's, the cultivate, this is where your evangelists come from. This is where your really happy customers that just cannot wait to tell their friends about you and refer people to you or come back and work with you again. So that stuff is super important to get back in front of existing email list members and existing customers. So the way we get help, I have my notes on my little card. The way we get help from the algorithm, again, is API wherever possible. Make sure you have GA4 in place. Use your UTM. So there are some dynamic spreads that you can put on those UTMs where it just pulls the data in for you for like campaign name and or number, however you want to track it, those kinds of things. Those are easy. That way you're not having to worry about naming convention. But there are also free spreadsheet tools out there to help you keep up with your UTMs and how you name them, and get your ops person or your developer to help you with this, and just make sure you're consistent in the way you're naming things so that you don't have 5 variations of the same campaign out there, because the UTMs are a literal process. So the difference in an S at the end or not is a different entry. The difference in capitalization or not can be a different entry. Whether you put a space or an underscore, it's going to add in that underscore, but sometimes it still stores those differently. Also, GA4 likes snake case, which is all lowercase with the underscores between the words. So keep that in mind. Then the other thing is know your numbers. Numbers are sexy. We have to embrace that if we want to grow our business. Peter Drucker famously said, "What we measure improves." And the flip side of that is what we don't measure isn't ever going to improve. If we don't know what our numbers are and know what's working, how can we do more of what's working and test, optimize, run whatever isn't working? So that is important as well. So you want to segment your email list, build a relationship. It's not about the size of your list. It's about the relationship with your list, and always be optimized. When you segment and you're delivering value to each group on your list and in your audience, it is so much easier to optimize, because it's easier to see what's working and what isn't, and you can make a tiny shift that makes a big difference in your business. So, recapping very quickly, we want to ask the algorithm for what we want, let it know when it's successful, and have a little party that conversion happened. Then we want to keep putting our content and our offers in front of people who've already engaged. We do that with custom audiences on the platform of engaged people on our Facebook page, our Instagram profile, watched our videos, things like that. Also, we're feeding back our first party and zero party data to the platform. And we can create ads at each step of this circle. So we're showing up in front of the right people at the right time with the right offer. And that's how sales are made. So that is it for today. Any questions, please pop them in the comments. I would love to have a conversation with you about this. If you want to learn about working with me, then also drop a comment below, or you can click the link that you'll find somewhere in my profile or on my website under the Work With Me page to watch the video and learn about our 90-day accelerator program. That is where most people are going to want to come in, because that's what gets you started on the fast track. So again, I'm Penny Kelly with Marketing Profit School. Thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your Tuesday morning, and I will talk to you next week.